Are you ready?
I was born ready.
Yeah, that's what they all say. You're not the first one to say that.
Okay.
This is the John Peckman podcast coming to you from Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance in beautiful downtown Portland, Connecticut, that is. Come over the bridge, go through one light, start looking left. And we are here today with Mr. Alan Friedman.
Wow.
Well,
that's
why not?
Very cool.
Hey, why not? Mr. Alan Friedman. Before we get started, I just want to say I never wanted to be one of these people that wears their own name on their own clothing, but this is what Dave has done to me. The John Peckman podcast. We now have hats.
Yeah. It's good. You're branding. That's good.
I guess that's what they call it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been branded, and
right.
now I'm branding.
Right. Exactly.
So if you're interested in this hat or a mug or what else do we have?
We have
T-shirts. Whatever.
T-shirts are good.
So anyway, check
okay.
it out. And I just, because I have hat head from, it's, let the record show, it's like in the single digits.
Yeah, it's really
So
cool.
I've been wearing a hat, so I just swapped out. So anyway,
right.
I'm this guy now. I'm wearing my own name on, but that none of that matters.
It's very stylish.
Alan Fried, thank you. You may find yourself
right.
one if you're not careful. So tell us all about yourself.
John, where do I start?
The beginning.
I was born in 1956.
Wow.
I'm officially old. I just had my birthday a couple days ago.
Oh,
January 7th.
Happy birthday.
I turned 66.
Wow.
I don't feel a day over 64. It's amazing.
Good.
So
That's okay.
I celebrated by having some knee surgery.
Good.
So it's like, that's what happens when you get to this age.
That's what they say. It's a miracle, though.
It
knee
is.
Surgery.
I was in and out in a few hours.
Wow.
It was crazy. So
That's
no,
wild.
I'm doing good. It's fun to be here. I'm with the best drummer in Connecticut. That sounds like such an offhanded compliment. So why is it just Connecticut? But you are. You're the best drummer in Connecticut.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Yeah,
that's
true.
Fine. That's fine.
I've played with you a few times. It's been great.
It's been known to happen. So tell us who you are, what you're doing, like who you currently are, and what we should know, and then we'll go back.
Okay.
Tell the whole story,
So I'm a resident of West Hartford, Connecticut. Okay. I'm a guitar player. Write music, record music.
Sure, we have a pile of albums.
Yeah, I
CDs
got
here.
5, working on the 6th one. I got a band project CD that I did called Cannonballs with a Z.
Sure.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah, everything's with us.
Right. So in my day job, I'm a CPA and a partner with a firm called Friedman, Kannenberg and Company. We started it in 1985. It didn't start off that way as a firm dedicated to the music industry.
Yeah,
but
you're like the rock and roll accountant.
It evolved to that, at least in Connecticut.
Yeah. That's
like,
cool.
Connecticut's such a small state. You can be something in Connecticut, like the best drummer in Connecticut.
Exactly. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah.
So we're the best music CPA firm in Connecticut.
That's cool. Hey,
so
that's all right.
Something like that.
Nothing wrong with that.
So
you didn't set out to be the accountant to just be
no. It would okay. So all right. So where it all started, like it started for every guy my age, was the date February 9th, 1964.
I wasn't born, but that's what they say.
I was 8 years old. We used to hang out at my grandmother's house every Sunday for dinner. And we used to always watch the Ed Sullivan Show, Topo Gigio, the talking mouse.
Sure.
And but on that particular night, I didn't even know that these guys were going to be on. But all of a sudden, Ed Sullivan came on. A bunch of girls started screaming, and he said, "Tonight, we're going to have the Beatles."
Yeah.
And we all watched that, and it was life altering.
Yeah.
We all said, "Hey, that's like that's what I want to do." It took a few years.
Who did you identify most with?
Probably George.
Okay.
Because or John. Paul was the bass player, so I know there's something cool about playing guitar. So so the funny thing was we loved all four of them. We really, I don't know that anybody. The girls always had a favorite, and it was usually Paul because he was arguably the most handsome of the four. But musically, I probably George or John. And so it took a few years. I mean, I started playing. My parents got me like a guitar that where the strings were like 3 inches off the neck. It was some cheap piece of crap. And, but I had a friend of mine. His name was Dean Chalakis, who I grew up in Albany, New York, and he was playing guitar. Was my age, and this guy was just a killer guitar player at the age of 12. And he had a Gibson 330, and I used to go over his house and he'd show me stuff, and I just sort of picked it. That's when things really took off. And so then I started playing in bands, and then while I had thought about a career, I'm almost done with the overview of the story here.
That's fine. Talk slower.
Yeah, okay, right. I got a lot of stuff in between, but
good. Right.
This is just the overview. I was thinking about becoming a musician professionally, but it wasn't what my parents had in mind. So my father was an accountant, and I actually took a bookkeeping class in high school, and I liked it. And so, long story short, I decided to pursue a career in accounting, but music was always a vibrant part of my life. I played in bands throughout high school, college, and then afterwards as well. And so when the firm started in '85, within a few years, it was sort of a natural migration towards having a lot of clients or pursuing a lot of clients in the music industry. And
that's cool.
Had a couple lucky breaks. I can talk about that later, but of people that I met, and all of a sudden, before too long, we were starting to amass a lot of musicians as clients, and they were the byproduct of our firm, because the predominance of our firm was really music stores, believe it or not, music retailers.
Okay.
I started speaking at NAMM in the early 1990s.
Dave was saying.
Right, and then but you'd meet a lot of musicians at the show, and that's how we got the musicians, and then recording studios and Pro Tools engineers and stuff like that. So it all just sort of grew from that. But
that's kind of cool though. That's a niche. Is that what they
yes,
call it?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
yes.
you're that guy.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the reason why we did that. There was actually a purposeful reason, aside from it being fun. If you're gonna do accounting and tax returns, you might as well do it in an industry that you like. But we decided to pursue it. There was a really bad economic downturn in like 89, 90, 91. And so when we emerged out of that, we said, we got to find an industry to service that is somewhat recession-proof, or certainly one that we didn't have a lot of competition from other CPA firms. And so the music industry made sense. That's how we did it. So
your partners in the firm, musicians also?
Funny you should ask. So my primary partner, Don Kannenberg, firm name's Friedman Kannenberg, has nothing to do with music. And so he sort of handles the everything other than music clients. But most of the people in our firm have either been around music or are musicians themselves.
Because I know a few.
Evan, who works for us, he's a great drummer. Daniel, who is like he's really our managing director of all the staff and work. He's a trombone player, so he's a real musician. His wife's a piano player. So there's we have musicians.
Jen Lowe she's still on the
So
scene.
Jen still does our social media and marketing, and she's she does it remotely from Florida. And another musician. So
we'll get her when I get a remote thing together.
Jen would be
on
awesome.
The list too.
You can't shut her up.
Good. That's fine. That's fine.
That's right.
That's fine.
No, she's got tons of stories. So
cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of the overview on the firm, but a lot of with it a lot of stories come along the way over. You do this long enough, there's always some crazy fun stories.
So you started playing gigs, Albany, you said.
Albany, New York. Yeah, metropolis of music.
Well, I don't know. I
the Tri-City area, Albany, Schenectady, Troy.
Yeah, well, you're in Portland, Connecticut.
Yeah, it's kind of the same. Kind of the same. Like when I talk to people from New York City, they say, "Where are you from?" From Albany. I go, it's the capital. I was like,
yeah, right.
It's like,
is it?
It is actually.
See, I don't even know.
Yeah, no, everybody
really?
thinks, it's got to be New York City, but no, it's actually Albany.
Wow, Albany. What was the music scene? Did you start?
Yeah,
you're playing.
Yeah. There was a scene. There was a scene in Albany. I played the first band I was in. My friend Dean, who I talked about a minute ago, was in a rock band. The age of 14, he left to go join a Greek wedding band, and that's how good he was at the age of 14. He was playing the bouzouki and everything else. The guy was just awesome. Tremendous. Cool. And so he recommended to his bandmates that they have me join the band. So I did, and I think I'm trying to remember the band name. I think was called like Riders on the Storm or something. It was like we were doing a couple, and I wasn't even a big Doors fan. But that was the name of the band. We were doing. It was funny if you looked at our list. It was all Cream, Mountain, Blind Faith, and some Deep Purple. So that was the whole thing. A lot of Mountain, a lot of Cream, a lot of Clapton, Leslie West.
Were you the lead guitarist? You're the lead guy?
Yeah, I was a guitar player, bass player, keyboard player, and drummer.
Wow.
So it was very cool. So I got to, as a matter of fact, my first gig, this is actually really funny. So I was the Jewish kid in the band, and the first gig was at a church on a Sunday morning.
Oh, boy.
And we played my very first public gig, and we played In the Presence of the Lord by Blind Faith.
Oh, boy.
And there's a riff in it, in the middle of it, that it's sort of an odd timed riff, and it took me forever to get this thing. But that was my first gig. It was in a church, so it was really cool.
That's heavy. I thought you were going to say it was in a church and you played Black Sabbath.
Yeah, well,
now, that would be something. That would be interesting.
Yeah, that was the second set.
That would be complicated. Yeah, that's complicated.
So yeah, there was a music scene in Albany, and then I was in that band for 2 years. A couple of guys in the band were older than me, so they were off to college. So then I wound up at the age of 16 in what I consider our high school band, rock band. It was called Highway Star. Yeah, we did a ton of Deep Purple and Sly and the Family Stone, Humble Pie. I mean, it just it was all great music. And we had a girl drummer. Her name was Sherry Kramer, and her brother was a guitar player and rhythm guitar player. So I played lead, played rhythm. She played drums. It was a keyboard player, bass player, and a singer. 6 of us, and we were doing all great music. And then 2 years later, I was off to college. Yep. I was in a band there. Then got out of college.
Where did you go?
University of Hartford, and that's how I wound up here.
Okay.
So I met she wasn't my wife then, but she's my wife now. She's from Philly, and we met. That's how we wound up here. And much to her chagrin, we got married young. I was 23, she was 21. So she literally.
You still married?
42 years.
That's awesome.
Can you believe that?
That's cool. That's really
cool. She hasn't killed me yet, so but she thinks about it every day.
Wow.
Right. So we, when I got out of college, we had gotten married, but I was playing in a band. I was playing all these dive bars. I was playing in a band called Storm. The moniker was
up here.
Yeah. The band was called Storm, All Weather Rock, and we.
Sure. Yeah.
You're probably too young. I don't even know if you remember. There used to be a place in downtown called Mad Murphy's.
Oh, yeah.
And so we used to play
at Mad Murphy's.
Yeah, we played there like most weekends. And we had a girl singer. Her name was Teresa, who wound up going to Nashville. And she's a great singer-songwriter, big Linda Ronstadt freak.
Yeah,
and so,
yeah.
So that was my post-college band. And then I started recording and then got busy with work, but recording then became my outlet more so than anything. But
that's cool.
Still play and then still play live with our now band of 17 years. It's an all CPA rock band called the Accounting Crows.
Oh, so, that's right. That's right. The Accounting Crows. That's cool.
Accounting Crows.
Why not?
Yeah. So still going strong.
How many people in that band?
There's 5 of us now. So
all CPAs.
So it started off we were all CPAs. A couple guys wound up leaving. One had some medical issues and retired. And then one of the guys used to be in the band left, but now came back. His name's John Del Grego. He's our lead singer, rhythm guitar player, and he's a CPA. Mark Zampino's our keyboard player, who is the former public affairs director of the Connecticut Society of CPAs. Right. And then our ringer is our bass player, Jay Wiggin.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know he was an accountant.
He's not exactly an accountant, that's but he's a client of an accounting firm, so we figured that's good enough. So.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Jay Wiggin.
Yeah, so Jay's a great bass player and a great singer.
Oh,
too.
Yeah. No, Jay.
I love Jay.
Yeah, no, Jay's awesome. Jay makes everything better.
He does.
He just is that kind of guy. He makes everything better.
You must. So now let me ask you a question. Out of I don't want to put you on the spot. You've played with a lot of bass players, and there's always the synergy between drummer and bass player. Who's some of your favorite local bass player guys?
I have
that the groove just happens every time you play.
I always say I'm extremely very spoiled because there's 3 that come immediately to mind, and they're all great and they're all different. Jay Wiggin.
Yep.
Eddie Corvo,
Yeah.
Dave Lavolsi.
Yeah.
That's
they're
it.
Great.
Like
great.
I'm all set.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
they're all
there's
great.
Nothing.
I played with Eddie a bunch of times.
Yeah, Eddie,
yeah. With Jen, Jen when she was doing her thing.
Oh,
That's how you and I got to play too.
Yeah.
You know what I will always remember you for? You
Uh-oh.
probably don't even remember this.
I might not.
So the first time we played,
Wasn't when I killed that guy that time.
yes, it was right afterwards.
said not
The police were looking for you, but they couldn't find you. And I didn't want to rat you out because you gave me the best tip ever. You actually explained to me the opening of Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin.
Sure. Yeah.
And that it's counted on an
it's the end of
offbeat,
three, yeah.
which is very cool.
Oh man, I know that was a hard one
Bonham,
piece of knowledge. Yeah, you can't mess with that.
yeah,
But those are my bass players. I mean, I can't. It's like I don't know if you've ever been in a scenario like this, but like it's not that I have to decide,
Right.
Because they're all great. But every time I play with one of them, I go, "This is my guy."
yeah,
Until I play with the next one,
Yeah.
and I go, "No, I have it made." Like
Yeah.
if I know that either of those three are on the gig, it's just like
Right.
whatever. And and I mean, there's others too.
yeah.
I mean, 'cause
For sure there are.
I met Joe O'Brien through
Joe's great.
Al, and he's great. And I
Yeah.
never knew him, before then. And I'm like, man, this guy's awesome too. So
We I feel really
spoiled.
bad. Joe was supposed to be the bass player of the Counting Crows.
Oh, no.
And he came to practice and he was great and we loved him.
Yeah.
But then we had a couple gigs coming up. He had a conflict and so we needed to get another bass player. So I wound up asking Jay, and Jay, spent all the time learning this stuff and actually played out with us. So I told Joe I would make it up to him, 'cause Jay wound up it just made sense because Jay learned all the material and
Yeah,
stuff.
sure.
So. But Joe and I are supposed to do some recording together.
That's cool.
He's a great bass
oh
player.
yeah,
It's like you said.
I didn't even know him, and I'm just like, well,
Yeah.
who's this dude now?
Yeah.
There's that too. And but Jay Wiggin, like you say, the thing about him too is like he's a great singer,
Yeah,
so he can cover. He just makes everything better.
he's amazing.
Yeah, when you get Jay on the scene,
He's
it
such
gets
a
another
meat
thing.
and potato bass player. Like he's a 4-string guy. I grew up in Albany, New York, with my favorite bass player was a guy by the name of Tony Jones. I'm still friendly. We're best of friends.
Sure.
And he's been on all my records, and and so he's a total 4-string P bass jazz bass guy. That's him. And it's like, and I always say like you should get like a 5-string. He goes, I don't need a thumb rest. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because when I started playing with Jay reminds me so much of Tony that because he's just that 4-string bass playing guy that and he probably plays
he's got the
5.
hip shot. He's got
Exactly.
But that's it. Yeah, he's not.
But he's such a great player. He locks in. He's just great.
Yeah, no, Jay's. Well, like I say, the three, the Holy Trinity for me.
The other 2 guys I've played with around here who have been awesome. I did a lot of recording with Dave Stoltz earlier, and Dave's great.
I never played with Dave enough for him to make my list, the short list, but that's just because
exactly. And
I know he's great. I didn't
tremendous
play with him a whole lot.
But they're all different. Like Dave's more of like a jazz player. Like like if I had a funk tune or something like that, Dave wouldn't be the guy I would call. But if I had like a sensitive ballad or a jazz or something like that, Dave's like perfect for that stuff.
Yeah.
And then the other guy, like the Jimi Hendrix of the bass, Doug Wimbish, is like
See, I don't know Doug.
Oh, Doug's
I don't know him. Do you think he would be on the show? You think I can get him up here?
Like, you want me to call him now?
Yeah.
He'll be here in a half hour.
No, that's awesome.
Doug
boy.
is like
I don't know him, so that would be cool.
Doug's crazy. He is truly like the Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
For most, I'm sure anybody who doesn't.
I mean, I'm familiar with his work. I just don't know
Doug.
him.
For the people listening, he's a bass player for Living Colour. He's played with the Stones, Jeff Beck, Carly Simon, just like a ton of people, and he's just But he's so innovative, and he's fun. He's an entertainer. He's just fun to watch.
Yeah.
But all those guys they're all great, but they're all different, which is wonderful.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah. So it depends on the tune and stuff. So
all right. So
all right, you got to get to ask you another question.
yeah,
Name your
oh boy, that's fun.
Name your 5.
Oh boy,
I was going to say 3, but name your 5 favorite, most influential drummers growing up.
Okay.
Or even a current. Who are your 5 guys?
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
I can.
And then I'll give you mine.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Drummers.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
My top 3 always Ringo,
Yep.
Bunny Carlos,
Wow.
Tom Ortolino. Those are my NRBQ.
Okay.
Bunny from Cheap Trick.
Yeah, sure.
Someday I'm going to have drums here, and I can explain this to everybody once and for all, what Bunny does that no one does that everyone should do.
Wow.
And then Tom Ortolino,
Yeah.
growing up around here
Great
with NRBQ, is one of my favorite drummers of all time. So when people ask me, those are the three.
Bunny's a funny one because it's like I hear that from a lot of other
He's
drummers.
so great.
And you know,
If I could show you, you'd know.
okay,
Yeah,
because
someday.
listening to their music, I don't think of it as complex music, and it's just kind of funny.
He has a thing. I'll
Yeah.
I'll have
Okay.
to straighten it out. But trust me, because when I was young, I thought when I grow up, this is the way you're supposed to play. Everyone, all grown-ups must play like this.
Yeah.
He's the only one.
Wow. Name two more.
Jim Keltner.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, if I had to go further than that, man, I don't know. I mean, I'm tempted to say Levon, but
Yeah. Wow.
but I mean, Keltner's huge for me.
Ridiculous.
I mean, and then it just
Yeah, I know. There's so many.
There's so many that I love.
We have a lot. We have a lot. Okay, so here's my five.
Yeah. Drummers.
I
All
have
right,
to
all
think about it, like number 4 and 5, like you. But my top three
Sure.
are Ringo,
Sure.
Bonham,
Sure.
Picaro.
Oh,
I'm a huge Jeff.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Jeff
Yeah.
fan,
Why
and
didn't
it's
I
hard
say-
to pick which of the. I probably would say Ringo because he started it all, but Bonham and Picaro,
Sure,
great.
yeah.
The 4 and 5 guys could be. It could be. I love Bernard Purdy.
sure. I was just thinking that too.
I love.
Now I'm trying to. Why
Yeah, I
didn't
mean, this
say-
guy. Will Calhoun is another.
Sure.
Simon Phillips.
Yeah, sure.
I could keep going. There's
Yeah,
like-
I know.
But growing up,
crazy.
like it's funny growing up, guys that we listened to that we loved, and then you listen to them with adult ears, and now you know why you loved them.
And well,
Ian Pace from Deep Purple, another
yeah,
one of these
no, he's
great
underrated.
drummers.
Yeah,
just
very
just,
underrated. Yeah, the thing about Bonham that I can never figure out, and I love John Bonham.
Yeah.
I could have said that easily too, but it's like you hear how mature his playing is, and I realize I'm twice as old, or whatever,
Yeah.
as he was when he did, and I'm like, when do I get to sound that grown up? And you're like, never, and you just go, oh, he was 21.
You
when
come
he did
pretty
that.
close. I've heard
Well,
you play. I've heard you play some Zeppelin. So.
But I mean, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
John Bonham's one of those people. He just sounds like Moses. You're never gonna
yeah,
catch up.
Yeah.
No matter how old you get, he will always sound older.
Yeah.
And better, just because.
it's crazy.
know.
It's yeah,
But,
unbelievable. I mean, yeah, I love groove guys. Just
yeah,
guys
I
who
do
play,
too.
Just
I love Steve Jordan.
yeah.
love,
Steve Gadd.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there's some of them that I forget that people who don't know drummers that it goes without saying.
Right.
Like I say, Picaro would have been somebody off. It's
Yeah.
so great. I don't even think of it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Like I'm a big Garibaldi fan, but you
Oh,
know who else
sure.
I love? And I saw when he was out for hip replacement surgery, and I saw Tower of Power. I saw Herman Matthews.
I love Herman Matthews.
Herman Matthews.
I
was
love Herman
killing
Matthews.
it.
Yeah,
just a great drummer.
I
Just-
remember he did a drum clinic back then. He was Tower Power's drummer. He did a clinic in Manchester, and I loved what he did
Yeah.
because he didn't play Garibaldi's parts. He kind of did his own thing.
Yeah.
I dug it though. I love Garibaldi.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, that takes a lot of nerve to kind of do your own thing on squib cakes.
Right.
But his thing was, like we say, not better, different,
Yeah.
but equally great. And I was like, I love this guy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Herman Matthews.
For recording, like there's this one guy that I've recorded with, I
boy.
did a whole band project with this guy.
Mickey Curry.
Mickey
There's another one.
Mickey Curry's
He's
awesome.
on the list. I'm gonna get him.
Oh my God!
Yeah, another one.
I'd
comes
love to just
mind.
be standing outside that door when you do Mickey. I'm a huge I'm a
Well,
huge Bryan Adams fan.
I don't know him. I don't know.
He's
Mickey,
right here. He's from
I know,
Connecticut.
I know a lot
He's
of
just-
people that know him. We're
Yeah.
gonna try and get him up
Mickey
here.
Curry's killer.
Great.
There's something.
Cuts Like a Knife is one of the best.
Oh
drum
my
tracks
God,
ever
that's a
of
great.
all-
I
yeah.
love that song. I love that song.
Anyway,
we
you
played
were
that in the
saying.
band. So one of the guys I've recorded with, and he's like a drum machine with a groove. Is Jonathan Mover? I don't know if you know
Oh,
Jonathan.
I know the name.
He played with Aretha. He played with
Oh, wow.
Alice Cooper.
Oh, wow,
But he
okay.
played with Vi Satriani. All
Okay.
those GTRs.
Okay.
He's now in L.A. He used to
Yeah,
be
I
in New
don't know.
York. Another great drummer. And so he's played on a lot of the records I've done. He's a one take wonder. This guy. It's just amazing. Polyrhythms,
Yeah.
just like nutty stuff. Just
Yeah. Oh man, now you got me.
if I wasn't a guitar player, you can tell I want to be a drummer. Both my sons are drummers, and I'm
wow.
envious of
Cool.
them. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I have so many.
I name three of your favorite guitar players.
Guitar players.
Just three.
Guitar players. Jeff Beck comes
Yep.
to mind.
Yep. He's number 2 on my list.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know why. I don't know much about guitar.
Yeah.
But I love Jeff Beck. I love Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
You know.
Jimmy's on my list.
Man, I got to think of 3. I mean, I honestly, I hate to say this, but I mean, I would say Big Al. You know, I love
He's
the way he
great.
plays.
Yeah.
You know, I got lucky. I'm a little bit too young to have grown up with NRBQ firsthand, but my sister was in college when they were a big deal. So they're like a food group to me.
Yeah,
like
that's
I grew
crazy.
up with hearing that
Yeah.
playing. And when I think back to Al, there's so many of his guitar solos on Yankee Stadium and Kick Me Hard or something that I know note for note that are like, they're not just guitar solos, they're like almost compositions.
Wow.
So to me, that's the standard because I grew up with it. I didn't know any better.
You know, it's funny. Like I've heard their
But
stuff.
I love his playing.
And I love everything they've done, but I
Yeah.
don't know their music.
Yeah,
It's one of those bands I got to go back and
I
really
just got lucky
dive
that
into.
I grew up
Yeah.
with it, so I was lucky.
I'm
I
not
don't know if
intimately familiar. Jim Chapdelaine, I know is,
Yeah.
and Jim's. I've never played with Jim, although he's mastered all my records.
Yeah.
And I know he's a great player.
But
But
Jim
I know-
was there.
Yeah,
He was there.
and
the
he
whole time.
he plays with Al.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He plays it out.
So I assume Jim's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. But
It's
I guess
crazy.
those guitar players, you know, yeah.
For me, it's like Jeff Beck is number 2.
Who's number
Growing
1?
up was Clapton, Leslie
Okay.
West, Richie Blackmore, those guys,
Yeah.
Tommy Bolin. But my number 1 guitar player, there's number 1, and then there's everybody else. My number 1 is Steve Lukather.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just and I was lucky enough to befriend him
Yeah.
in the late '80s, and
Sure.
and so it's that guy's an alien. I mean, I could spend hours just talking
Yeah, yeah.
about him. I know his catalog, and I've
Russ
listened to-
Kunkel.
Russ,
I see now.
Yeah, Russ. Russ is a great drummer.
Yeah.
That whole
Great drummer.
band,
Yeah,
you know, Waddy and Lee.
Sure.
We have
Yeah.
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 We haven't gone through our top bass players yet, other than local. So
Yeah.
we'll do.
But
next
Steve
time.
Lukather, that's your guy.
The guy's he
What's
is
your
the
favorite stuff? Like what? I only know him from Toto. I don't know
Okay,
a
so
whole lot.
like so Toto is obviously the band that most people are familiar with when you talk about Steve Lukather. Unless you're a musician, then you know he was basically the number 1 LA
Right.
session guy.
Right.
I can name a dozen solos, famous guitar solos that people didn't even. Running with the Night by Lionel Richie, Steve Lukather.
Yeah.
Let's Get Physical,
Yeah,
Steve
yeah,
Lukather. Don Henley, Dirty Laundry. The first solo is Joe Walsh. Second one is Steve Lukather.
Far out.
There's a share. If I could turn back time, there's a
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
bunch
yeah,
of
yeah,
these. You
yeah.
know, so
A
he
period.
was doing all that great stuff.
That's
but
cool.
he's got some side projects too that he's done over the years. He was in a band with Simon Phillips,
Okay.
David Garfield, called Los Lobotomies,
Okay.
and it was half originals, some covers like Hendrix, Mahavishnu, that kind of
Yep.
stuff. And then I saw. As a matter of fact, I saw this one show right before COVID. It was in December of 2019 at the Iridium
Okay.
in New York. And after this show, I'll tell you who I saw. I said, if I died now, it would be cool. Not that I wanted to die, but
Yeah.
I would have seen my musical nirvana. I saw the show that I said, I'm seeing the best players at the top of their game all in one band. And
Wow.
it was Lukather, it was Bill Evans on sax, it was Keith Carlock on drums, it was Will Lee on bass,
Ooh.
and Steve Weingart on keyboards. And it
Wow,
was
gee whiz.
it was the
Yeah, that's
mastery
heavy.
of
Yeah,
their
that's
instruments was
crazy.
it was just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Keith Carlock.
Oh, Keith was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Just
I might have met him a couple times. I was in a band with someone. He was their roommate. So it'd
Oh,
be,
no
hey
kidding.
man, you know, it was just like just that kind of relationship. Like
yeah.
I would go and visit. Oh hey,
Yeah.
oh, my roommate's a drummer. Oh hey man, and then a few years later you're like, oh it's Keith. That's Keith Carlock.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the guy. Yeah.
I remember
Great.
seeing a YouTube video. It just goes to show like how you don't realize how great some of these guys are. Like how great guys like the ones that we've mentioned
Sure.
are. But I saw this one video. I think it was at PASIC, and it was 4 guys. It was Simon Phillips, Steve Smith, Will Calhoun, and Todd Suckerman.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah.
And
yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah,
you're
yeah.
watching these four guys, and they're
it's
as
crazy.
different as they were. They're all like masters of the drum, and it's just like like Todd and Will were probably more impressive to me because I didn't know they were that good.
Yeah, yeah,
they were.
yeah,
I mean, I knew Will was
Sure.
but Todd was crazy.
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Just-
He's
just-
nuts.
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
I'm frustrated. I want to be a drummer. You know that.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll tell you one thing, and then we'll talk about your drumming.
Okay.
But yeah, I got nervous,
Or
like you
lack
say.
thereof.
Well, my
Yeah.
first thought is when you describe that lineup, I go, "Please God, don't let the building get hit by lightning." I remember there was one gig. I forget where I was at. I remember it was at the Tiger. I don't remember why, but Dave Lavolsi,
Yeah.
Jay Wiggin, and Eddie were all three together, and I just said, "Don't."
Yeah.
Don't someone go home because if the building gets hit,
That's right. There'd be no music in
there'll
Connecticut.
be no music. I'll be done. There's no bass players. I was like, you guys shouldn't hang out together.
Yeah,
This is
right.
making me nervous.
That's
Making
funny.
me nervous. Yeah.
That's cool.
So
That's
drumming. Talk about your drumming.
Yeah, so
I didn't
like-
know. I had
yeah,
no
well,
idea.
both my sons are drummers, and I always say this because guitar players are assholes. Sorry, like we're all
Oh, I know.
insecure. We're
No,
all
no.
insecure guys that, like I make this joke that like when you meet another guitar player, if that guitar player is really a novice, you love the guy because he's of no threat to you. And if you meet a guy who's just light years ahead of you, you love the guy because you couldn't begin to compare yourself to that person anyways. But when then you meet a guy who's sort of on the same par as you,
cut him to
Yeah,
shreds.
exactly. That guy's a piece of shit. That's right. Drummers, on the other hand,
You don't think so?
are exactly the opposite.
Oh.
You guys love one another. You rejoice in your
I think so.
your drumming education. It's just you guys are, and I see that with my kids, both
Oh,
my
wow.
sons. They're
Okay.
really
So guitar players are just
they're
just
dicks.
yeah. I guess. Yeah, I never thought of it like that. Yeah, that's funny.
right.
Well, it must be that thing. I don't know what it is. 'Cause
Yeah,
you guys
it's
are
an
like
insecurity.
that. Well, you're the alphas too. I mean,
guess.
you know what I mean. We're drummers. We're used to.
Yeah.
We're kind of in the background. So it's
The only
like,
people
oh,
that are worse than drummers are lead singers. So, right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
But not much more.
Yeah,
Worse, right?
yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. So,
Wow. So how did your drumming?
well, like I tried teaching myself how to play drums a few years ago.
Oh, so this is not.
Oh
from-
no, I don't play.
Okay.
But it did help rhythmically. Help my guitar playing rhythmically. My world really got way better when both my sons started playing and got really good at it.
Oh,
My
cool.
youngest son, Todd, Jeremy's older and he's married now. He's
Yeah.
37, and so he plays, but not all that often. He's got a kid in the basement, but he's got little kids around. Todd's single and plays out in a band, and he's like an old soul. He's listening to all the guys that we listened to
Yeah,
growing up, and guys like Clyde Stubblefield
Yeah,
from
sure.
James Brown, and he's listening to guys like he listens to Weckl and
sure. I
Gavin Harrison. So he's
Yeah,
listening to a lot
sure.
of progressive
Yep.
players too, and but he's a student of Bernard Purdy.
Yeah.
And he's a student of of Ringo
Yep.
and Mitch Mitchell or
Sure,
all
sure.
the guys that we grew up
Yeah.
listening to.
Yeah.
So
Crazy.
yeah, it's cool too. And
Yeah.
he'll come over and he'll show me stuff like that. He's really if there's one genre of music that he really excels at, and he's a good rock drummer. He was a good funk player too. Really great. He loves funk, groove,
Yeah.
sort of R&B kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So
That's pretty
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
So my drumming is I just joke about that.
Okay. All right. I
I'm hoping
I didn't know.
I'm gonna it's gonna wear off or wear on, I should say, by osmosis. But
Yeah. Right.
well, I don't need to learn drums. We got you. So
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. Sure. So talk about there was the soiree you had.
yeah.
What was that?
So I had done since like the early 2000s. I had done 5 albums. I finished my 5th one about 2 years ago, and I got a lot of clients on it. So there's a lot of famous guys on it.
Why not?
Like Will and Jonathan Mover and Greg Fillinganes.
You ever extort them?
Yes,
You ever tell them
that's
that-
how I get them to
Yeah.
play. I basically tell them, if you don't want to get audited, you need to play my record for free. So, and somehow they do. And so, so I've gotten a lot of, local and some national guys playing
Sure.
on these records. And I've written all the music. I write pretty much all the lyrics. The guy who sings most of this stuff, I can't sing. I don't sing at all, and I have no sense of melody. But I can write music. I can write lyrics. I have a pretty good understanding of song arrangement and stuff like that. And so, but the guy who's singing a ton of, I've had different singers, but the guy who's done the vast majority is a guy by the name of Robbie LeBlanc.
Okay.
Who's tremendous. He's a wine rep for Bogle.
Wow.
He used to live in Connecticut, down in Monroe, but now he lives in Delaware. But we're very, very, very close friends, and so he sang a lot of stuff. So anyway, so we've been talking about doing a CD release party, and I've wanted to do it. So about 2 years ago, I planned on doing it in November of 2020, but COVID hit.
Yeah, sure.
So that all got canceled, and but then when vaccinations started happening, I figured, well, I think it'll be safe. So we replanned it for November of 2021 at Telefunken, who's a client of ours. They're Telefunken Microphone. So we did it at their studio. So that's story number one. There's three stories, and they merge. So story number two was I didn't want it to be just like all about me. So I wanted to be inclusive and get a lot of different people who played on the records to play, and then also do it for some worthwhile cause. So we did it as a charity event. It was for autism. There's an organization called AANE, which is the Asperger Autism Network, that provides support services for families that have people on the spectrum, neurodiverse people in their family. So we turned it into a fundraiser. And then story number three was completely aside from that. I wound up getting, as a client a couple years ago, the band The Immediate Family.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know the band name, but they know who the guys are. That's Lee Sklar, Danny Korchmar, Waddy Wachtel, Russ Kunkel, and Steve Postel.
Right.
And I've known Steve for 30 years. Steve was a client of ours. So I get this phone call over 2 summers ago from Steve. Said, I knew he had gotten in this band, which was really exciting. And the reason why they asked him was he's a great singer, great guitar player, and knows Pro Tools, and so he was the great addition to that band. So he said, all the guys want to use an accounting firm that's independent of the accountants that they all have.
Sure.
Would you be interested? Could I get the word yes out of my mouth quick enough? So within a few days, I was on a Zoom call, and I'm staring at Lee and Waddy and Danny and Russ and so I had met Danny. Had actually been over to the house for breakfast once when he lived in Connecticut. I had sort of known Lee. We had met a few times when he was playing in Toto. Had never met Russ. Knew Steve. And Waddy I had met only once or twice through a client of ours, Bernard Fowler, who's the vocalist, background vocalist for the Stones. Sure. And so they played together at a place called The Joint in L.A. So anyway, so I'm on this call. As soon as they, all I had to do was tell a bunch of dirty jokes, and I was their accountant, and then I guess they assumed they knew the tax and accounting end of stuff, and so I immediately befriended these guys, and come to find out they were starting their tour in November in Norwalk, Connecticut, and it was 3 days later after the planned event the fundraiser that I was having.
Okay.
So I called them up. I called their management, and then I called them. They said, "Would you guys, if I can get you a gig, because they wanted to do a clinic and they wanted to do it at Berkeley, but at the time they were planning the tour, Berkeley wasn't sure it was going to even be open. It was COVID. Yeah. So I said, if I can get you a clinic and a concert, would you guys come to the fundraiser that I'm doing on Saturday night? It just means coming in a couple days early.
Right.
And they said yes, and it turned out that event actually made the tour because it just wound up working out perfectly, timing-wise, financially.
Yeah.
So we promoted the whole weekend as it was all for the fundraiser, and so Saturday night was Alan Friedman and friends, and then Sunday was The Immediate Family, and then my son Todd and I did an hour and a half interview of them.
Oh, cool.
And then they played for an hour afterwards. So that's how that whole thing.
It covered all the bases.
Yeah, I figured these guys are in their mid-70s.
Yeah.
Who knows how much longer we're all going to be around? And I felt it was important. They have so many stories from both the studio and the road. I figured, rather than just have them get up and play, it was, to me, it was equally as important for people to have the opportunity to ask them
Yep.
questions, and
Yep.
and they did.
Yeah, I hear
It was great. It was a ton of fun. They were really hilarious,
Yeah.
and just the stories. I mean, we could have spent
Oh,
all
sure.
day asking them questions and stuff.
So I worked with Danny for I don't 7 years or something like
Wow.
that, right?
Yeah.
And we really hit it off. Like we had a grand old time,
Yeah.
me and him. And after I got to know him well enough, because I'm a complete music nerd and I would know everything. And like we'd be hanging around, and I would finally be just like, John Lennon, go tell me the stories, because I knew who
Yeah.
he had played sessions with, and I'd be like, tell me about the John Lennon set. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I would turn into the world's biggest ear,
Yeah.
just like, and then just be like, so you played on Keith Moon's solo record. What was that like?
Yeah. It's
So I got
crazy.
the inside story on a lot of things.
Those guys have so many
Yeah, it's
stories.
crazy.
So that weekend on it was Sunday. We all had dinner. They weren't leaving till Tuesday, and I had a couple business meetings with them Monday. Well, Monday night I'm hanging out at the bar with Danny and Waddy, and then Danny went up to his room, and Waddy and I were there till 12, drinking sodas. We
Yeah,
weren't
sure.
really drinking, and I heard like the craziest stories from Waddy about how he met Mick and Keith, and how
Yeah,
he came
right.
to play with Keith.
Yeah.
Stories of, him playing with Stevie Nicks, and in the person that I've always loved, but didn't appreciate until I was older and really felt like I was, you kind of got on the inside of the joke, was Warren Zevon.
Sure.
And Waddy and Warren were
Yeah, yeah.
really, really close.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and that took a big chunk out of his soul when Warren passed away. But Waddy loves talking about Warren, and so I love asking the questions about him. So it was
Yeah.
it's funny. It's like, I feel like I've lived a charmed life. It's like, but what's funny is I'm meeting all these guys. These guys are all becoming clients in their later years.
Yeah, right.
Younger people don't really know. Some of them don't care, and music is different now, and I sound jaded a little bit. You watch the Grammys and you understand
Yeah, I know.
why you can become
Well,
jaded.
I'm old
Yeah.
too.
Yes.
I've crossed that thing of
Yeah.
starting to not understand what's going on.
The
musically.
Grammys, the Grammys for us was always an award show for musical accomplishment.
I know.
Now it's turned into like a theatrics kind of
Yeah, I
an
know.
event, and which is fine. Have your own event, but don't make it part of the Grammys.
Right.
It's just,
I agree with
it's
you.
not.
Well, I'm glad to see them, because as we know, at least roughly our age, with the immediate family, with those cats, what they did, who they are, what they contributed, what thread, they're the thread that goes through so many things. I'm glad they're finally kind of getting their due, or at least it's being, set in stone.
Yeah.
Finally, because when I played with them, years and years ago, I'm kind of like a amateur writer. Like I like to write. I write
Yeah.
for no reason. And I was trying to convince him to let me write his biography.
Wow.
And he was like, and I was like, no, but why are you on all this stuff? Like
Yeah.
you're an ingredient in all of these.
Totally.
And it was just, I think, I'm glad that they're getting their story told, because it needs to be told.
Yeah.
Now you put all of them together and you're like, well,
Yeah.
that it's like the Wrecking Crew
Yeah.
next.
So there's a
I'm
movie,
glad
there's
that
a
they're
movie
getting
coming
something.
out.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It's coming out at the end of this year. They've got it all filmed, so they're just putting it together on the immediate family. It'll
Yeah,
be
just to
and
kinda-
and ironically, it's done by Denny Tedesco. I think it's Tommy Tedesco's son,
Yeah, right.
who did the Wrecking
Right.
Crew, and so he's
Yeah.
doing the immediate family.
Well, that's what
so.
I was. It was starting to. I think it seems like now we're turning back a little bit, and kind of there's a little more value to those stories than
Yeah.
there might have been 10, 12 years ago when I said this to Danny. But now I'm glad that like people are taking more interest, because they should. It's
Right.
Like because I always think of like those guys. It's like if you just listen randomly to the radio, you're going to hear them every day.
Yeah.
Like every day.
It's crazy.
Something that they had something to do with.
Yeah.
In that certain patch. Like you said, there's a period
Right. Did you happen to see the? It was just on a week ago on CNN, the Carole King James Taylor.
I didn't see it, but
yeah.
I
So they did
sure.
a 2-hour film documentary on the tour that they did 10 years ago. It was the Troubadour tour.
Yep.
And here I'm watching this thing, and there's Lee, Danny,
Yeah.
and Russ.
Yeah.
Playing with James and Carol.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
And
I was playing with Danny then. We had gigs, and then I got to go do this thing.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, that's the thing you're doing?
Yeah.
It's funny.
Is that crazy? I mean, that's a desert island record for me. Both those records, Tapestry and Sweet Baby James. I remember the day I bought them.
Yeah. My big sister had Tapestry, so I remember that from day one. And then, James Taylor. Yeah. I can't get any better than that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. And it's timeless.
Timeless.
That music is just, that's great music.
Yeah, I agree.
They deserve all the accolades that they got. And it's great that you're seeing these guys, too, get the accolades that they deserve.
Yeah.
They help make some of that music sound the way it does.
No doubt.
Really,
no doubt.
Really them. So
far out. All right. Have you seen the show that you're on, the John Peckman podcast?
So
show?
the first time I saw it was just a week ago with Al Gamaris.
Right.
Who's my go-to guy for any Pro Tools questions.
Oh, yeah.
Al's awesome.
Al knows what he's doing.
And so I didn't even know you were doing. I've known you for years, and I didn't know that you were doing this podcast.
Not everybody does. It's weird.
Yeah, so you're the perfect guy for it too. So
who knew?
Yeah,
Dave knew. I didn't know.
Dave knew.
Yeah.
Dave's awesome.
Sometimes greatness is thrust.
Yeah,
on us,
that's
what's
right.
the saying or whatever.
Yeah, some men are born into it, and some are
I guess.
Something.
So the questions to kind of getting close to wrap up.
Okay.
Just so we have enough to talk about.
Yeah. I assume there's an episode 2 and 3, 4, and 5 on this.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. We're gonna figure that out.
Yeah.
We're gonna have
no worries.
Are you a consistent practicer of your instrument?
Yeah, pretty much. The only
cool.
time that it wanes is during tax season, which I'm just starting now.
Yeah.
My wife Beth, God bless her, she doesn't see much of me during tax season, but COVID kept me home, and it's still keeping us home.
Yeah.
So I'm working from home a lot, so she gets to see me more. But unfortunately, now what I've been doing is I taught myself a couple years ago, literally just within the last 2 years, I flipped everything over to Pro Tools. And I've totally dove into it. And so I got the 32 tracks of audio from the fundraiser. So now I'm in there and basically clean up tracks, and I'm going to mix it, and we're going to turn it into a DVD too. They filmed the whole thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I go from not being in tax season to starting tax season, and when I'm not doing tax season, I'm doing
now you're
Pro
making
Tools.
a movie. Yeah,
right.
you're making a
Exactly.
soundtrack.
It's fun, yeah. Plugins is my new discretionary funding spending.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
That's funny. Put it in that column.
Yeah.
Over there.
It's
right,
awesome.
Well, that's
awesome.
cool.
So that's what I've been doing. Lately.
No, that's a good thing.
But yeah, I practice often, and
guitar,
I'm always writing stuff.
mostly.
Yeah, it's all guitar.
Did you always write songs?
No.
Okay.
I kind of started doing it when I stopped playing live.
Sure.
Really, when we had
became
kids.
A studio.
Yeah, exactly. Right after we got married, I was dragging my wife to all these crazy sleazy bars and stuff, and so I said, and I wasn't studying for the CPA exam, so I flipped it, and I studied, passed, and then I at that time the Tascam Porta Studio had just come out,
right?
So I said, this is awesome. So that's when I started, writing stuff, and it was silly stuff in the beginning, but then I got serious about it, and then just started writing serious music, and
that's cool,
and trying to make statements. I mean, some of the stuff is silly or fun or funny,
Why not?
But there's some political statements and stuff in some of the music.
Sure.
But yeah, so I started writing like in the late 80s, mid 80s, late 80s.
Yeah.
And then seriously recording like late 90s, and like right around 2000 is when, and the first record came out in 2002, but it had been like 5-6 years in the making.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Yeah. Do you record? On your own?
No, not so much.
You just go to places to record.
I just go to places to record. I mean, I have my own setup back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Into the New Century, and then I just kind of not that interested.
I got to
in it.
get you over the house. There's a full kit,
Yeah,
all mic'd up, ready to go.
I'm down with whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you don't, I'm going to get you audited.
Oh yeah, okay, no problem. I've been audited actually.
Oh, okay.
I have been audited way back in the day.
Now you don't have to
back
worry.
in
I
the
won't get
90s.
you audited.
No, it's
I have no pull with the IRS.
No, I'll do whatever. I'll do
But I'll
whatever.
beg you.
Yeah, that's fine.
that
You don't
I'm
have
good
to-
at.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah. So
Now I haven't recorded lately.
what's your kit? What's your main kit?
My main kit that I play on gigs now is it's a 72 Ludwig.
Nice.
Yeah, a Ringo reissue. It's
Wow.
a 72, but it's Black Oyster Pearl 22,
Oh, wow.
13,
Oh,
16.
gee, that's cool.
So it's a Ringo kit.
Yeah.
And
Do you play with 4 or 5 pieces?
4.
Yeah.
It actually came with 5. It came
Yeah.
with another rack, which is not the way Ringo
So one
had
up,
it.
one down,
Yep.
kick and
That's it.
snare.
That's
That's
it.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of
You,
dig it.
you probably can say it all with 4 drums, I would think.
I always have.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there were times when I had more, but
Yeah.
I like home bass.
Yeah.
I don't even like playing fills. They just throws me off.
You know, I hear that from a lot of...
I'd rather just
Yeah.
be right here, and then if I have to, I will.
Yeah.
Just to impress people for a minute, so they'll leave me alone, so I can just get back. I just like kind of.
John, I'll tell you something. The great drummers, I hear that from the same thing, that
Oh.
they're playing, it's all about the groove and just playing for the song. Those are the great drummers. You're
Wow.
one of them.
Well,
You were clearly one of them. Less is more.
I guess. Yeah.
That's the Jeff Beccaro theory.
Yeah. Or like Joe Delaney said, I had a friend of mine. He's hilarious. His philosophy, he's like a rock guy.
Yeah.
And his thing, it like blows your mind. I think about it. He goes, less is more, but more of it. You know, and you're like, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that's good.
Yeah.
I'm
Do
gonna
the
remember
thing.
that.
Do the thing that's less, but
Yeah.
but more often.
Yeah.
More of it.
Yeah, right.
Okay, cool.
That's very cool.
Desert Island albums.
Okay.
A few.
All right, I'll give you. I get asked that question. We always
Sure,
ask that.
yeah, yeah.
The 5 records are.
Sure.
I named one of them, Carole King Tapestry.
Sure.
For sure, it's going to be some Beatles record. And surprisingly, I would have years ago. I probably would have said Abbey Road, because you can't say the White Album. That's cheating. It's a double record.
Oh, wow.
Believe it or not, now I'd probably say the album that I didn't love it when it came out, because it was the acoustic album, but I love Rubber Soul.
Sure.
That's a great record. So
Yeah.
that or
Yeah.
Revolver. I mean, any
Yeah,
Beatle
yeah,
record.
yeah.
Let It Bleed by the Stones.
Sure.
That's 2. Carole King is 3. This is an oddball one. Neil Young After the Gold Rush
Not that
is
odd.
4.
Yeah.
And maybe, wow, this is hard.
Mm.
It would probably be a Zeppelin record.
Yeah, yeah,
I would
that's what I was
probably, maybe
thinking.
House of the Holy.
Yeah,
Maybe,
I like
or
House of the
4 or House of the Holy.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it could be any one of them.
Could be any of them. Yeah, any Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Any of them.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Deep Purple Machine Head.
Yeah, yeah.
Billy
Yeah.
Cobham Spectrum.
I don't know that one.
Oh, that's a great record.
Huh.
That's a great record.
Far out.
All right, what are your 5?
Oh man. White Album. Sorry.
Yeah,
cheating.
yeah, you're cheating.
Oh,
or not. You can count it as 2.
I don't even know. I wouldn't. Even,
Yeah.
Top 5. Good Lord. Right off the top of my head. Yeah. White Album. Smiley Smile by the Beach Boys, which is very
Wow.
bizarre. Very
Wow.
weird album.
Yep.
Kick Me Hard by NRBQ.
Yep.
One of them.
Yep.
Man. I mean, I don't know. I'm writing my musical biography. I have hundreds.
Yeah. And it's a hard question.
Sly Stone's Greatest Hits.
Oh, yeah.
Greg
Yeah,
Errico,
yeah.
that.
That's a great
I
record.
could listen to that at any time.
Sly
Like,
and
anytime.
Stevie were the founders of funk. I'm sorry, that's where it started.
Yeah.
And when you listen to Sly, those Hot Fun in the Summertime,
The greatest.
and Everyday People. I'm just
Yeah. I could-
thank you for letting me be.
All of them.
Yeah, dance to
Yeah.
music. It's
yeah.
higher.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something? When I got the Woodstock record, I wore the grooves off the Sly performance. There were so many great performances on that record.
Yeah, yeah.
10 years after Jefferson
sure,
Airplane,
sure.
but the Sly thing, oh my God, that was the best thing on that record.
Yeah, the greatest. Yeah, Sly. But yeah,
Killer.
but those spring to mind. Cheap Trick's first album, the debut album.
Wow, you are a true Bunny fan.
I am.
You're gonna have to show me.
I will. I'll
Okay.
show you before we leave this
Okay,
building.
okay.
Pet Sounds.
Everybody's,
Smiley Smile. Yeah, that's
growing
the one
up,
for me.
it was either you were like, I guess if you're
sure.
immature, you were either a Beatle fan or a Beach Boy fan.
Sure.
To me, Beach Boys were surf music,
Sure,
and
sure.
But as I got older, everybody said, "Oh, I got to check out Pet Sounds. Pet Sounds." That's all I used to hear about was Pet Sounds, and I kind of get it.
Yeah,
They wrote. I mean, their harmonies were
Sure.
crazy good.
I had that record in the house from childhood. My mom had it.
Wow.
So Pet Sounds
Yeah.
is the sound of my childhood. I was lucky. And then later when it became hip, I was like, oh, I'm already.
Yeah, you
I
were
was
already hip.
there without knowing. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Favorite, if you could eat one food, either type or item, every day, what would it be?
Sushi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, love sushi.
That's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Never get sick of it.
Quick answer.
And never get sick from it.
Right.
Which is crazy. Everybody thinks, it's raw fish. Yeah. It's the one thing I can eat late at night and I can go to sleep and I eat kind of on a full stomach, which you really shouldn't do, but I won't wake up with acid reflux or indigestion. And my favorite food is probably Italian, but you can't go to sleep on a full stomach of Italian food.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, but sushi. I love sushi.
yeah. I could never get into it. My wife's into it.
Oh, really? Oh, you're not a sushi fan, huh?
I don't know. I'm not an adventurous eater, so I'm not the person.
Yeah, my wife isn't really that much. She likes California rolls because it's cooked, So it's cooked crab. So
you're like,
Yeah.
poser.
no, I'll eat all the weird stuff. I'll eat eel and all that crazy stuff.
Well, that's all right. That's cool.
Yeah.
You have anything that we didn't touch on that you want to add or talk
Wow.
about? You will definitely have to come back.
I'd love to. I got tons of stories.
I'm sure you
We'll
do.
just keep going.
Well, you know what? That's a thought. I don't know if we could do this today, maybe, but my idea was we break and then we set up for the after hours where you could just. It doesn't have to be a certain amount of time, but we get informal.
Yeah.
If you
Okay.
want.
Cool.
If you want.
I would love that. That's cool.
All right. Well, you know what?
We'll plan to do that. I would love that.
Yeah. That's what
We
I
should
think.
get it would be cool to get like 2 or 3 guys like that. We're all buds to get like Al or Evan or like I said, or Joe or
and
Dennis.
Get wasted.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into the
and just talk.
Yeah. That's the plan. Yeah, we're gonna have
I got to tell you something. You are the Dennis Fancher of drums, and
Really?
I said that's my final comment. I don't know what it is about that guy. I know what it is about that guy.
He's a great player.
He's my favorite. He's my favorite Connecticut guitar
there's
player.
like nothing he can't do.
That guy is, and he's funny as shit.
Yeah.
And if you ever get in any kind of like fun private conversation with him, he will be laughing for forever.
Yeah.
So what's really cool about him, aside from being the greatest guitar player, he's one of the sweetest guys ever, and I love that guy. And,
Yeah.
And
cool dude.
yeah, it's a great slide guitar player. Just amazing. He's
Whole
just-
other thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
love
Far
Dennis. You got to get Dennis.
Oh yeah. I will.
I was his first guitar teacher.
Oh, no
Oh
kidding.
really? Dave
No
Kosminski,
kidding.
our leader, was Dennis Fancher's
Wow.
first
And he's
guitar
such
teacher.
a nice guy. Just,
Yeah.
But the guy can play anything. He's just,
Yeah, he can play anything.
He's a chameleon. He's
Yeah,
just
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah. Did you know Ron Lawrence?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right, it must be more my area.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Sad, very sad. Great guitar player from New Haven-ish area. Like I grew up in Wallingford,
Yeah.
adjacent to New Haven, and
Right.
he was like the cat. He was like the Jeff Pevar of or the Dennis.
Jeff's a great guitar
Yeah,
player
yeah.
too.
Of that New Haven area, and he tragically died a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's just kind of like
How
still
old
in
is
the
he?
shadow. 61.
Wow, that's young.
Too young. But
Yeah.
I just think of
Yeah.
great players around here. He's one of the dudes,
Right.
and we're all kind of those of us in that orbit are still kind of in shock. They had a service for him yesterday at Toads
Oh, no
that
kidding.
was live streamed. And
Yeah.
kind of like whoa.
John, you know what? I mean, every day's a blessing. And, you wake up in the morning, you're still breathing. I mean,
Yep.
you're off to a good start.
I know.
By the way, Jeff Pevar, another great guitar player.
Yeah.
So I don't have to say he's the best guitar player in Connecticut. 'Cause he doesn't live in Connecticut
Right.
anymore, so
Right.
he's excused now. So.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. yeah. No. For
So
sure.
no, he's
Sure.
a great player.
Yeah. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna get out of here.
Okay.
You get a mug just for being here.
I love that.
Yes.
This is very cool. This will
not?
become my favorite mug.
It doesn't. You don't have to say anything.
No.
like that.
No, this is awesome.
It's fun. Man.
I
That's
can
all
use this
days.
for urine samples, which
Perfect.
to see your
that's
to
what I
see
do.
your name and face as I'm putting in the urine
Well,
sample.
that's a new
would be.
COVID treatment. Is drink your own urine. I've heard. That's what I've heard.
Yes, I heard Donald Trump say that.
Yeah,
As a
yeah,
matter of fact.
exactly. But
But
that's
we haven't talked about politics.
no stop. Okay, so I would love to, but I'm
Yeah,
trying.
no, you want to keep the fan base that
I
you
just
have.
I don't even know. It's one of those things that like we could talk about that longer than music.
Oh
so
yeah,
we don't have enough time.
yeah. We need Evan here for that.
Yeah, no, we do. Yeah, maybe we'll have the round table. We'll get
I'd love
Evan.
that.
Yeah, that'd be
that's
fun.
good. That's
That'd be
good.
fun. All right, let's,
You rock. Thank you so much
no.
for having me. Both
you.
you guys. This is really
Alan
awesome.
Friedman. Yeah,
This is great. This is great.
Yeah,
Love
we have a
it.
good time. We'll do it again.
Okay.
All right, John Peckman podcast. That's what this was. Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance, lovely downtown Portland. Come over the bridge, go through One Light. You found it okay?
I
right?
did.
Yeah,
It was
it's not-
easy.
Yeah, you pull a Yui,
Yes.
and then you're here. We're here with Alan Friedman, accountant to the stars, and also an excellent guitar player in his own right. Creator
Thank
of
you.
many albums that we have here. Thanks for coming. I appreciate
John,
it.
thanks for having me.
Be careful out there, kids. That is all. We will see you again. Be careful.
If you'd like to start your own podcast, give us a call at Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Our professionally designed podcast space is here for all your recording needs. Rent out our studio to do interviews with up to 4 people, to record audiobooks, social media content, and all other recorded material. Our rentals include a private studio along with our professional-grade podcasting equipment, and we can customize your output to whatever your needs are. We also have green screen capabilities, which will expand to video capability if you so wish. So check us out here at convalley.net/podcast.